Welcome to the Exceptionally Irresistible Show, featuring conversations with people who have demonstrated exceptional success in their lives and who have some irresistible qualities worth learning from. Come learn how others have created an exceptionally irresistible life. You too can live an extraordinary life, both personally and professionally. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to another incredible episode of the Exceptionally Irresistible Show. We are so excited. Do we have a guest for you today? You have no idea what you guys are in for. I know, because she's a friend. So it is super, super fun. And there's just something that really stands out about this one particular individual that I was like, dude, she's got to be on the show. It's that she has a unique skill, a unique talent. She's a photographer. What's unique about that? Here's what's special. She takes out the uniqueness, the God given talent that you have through means of photography, video, social media, all these incredible things that she does. And you guys are going to hear why she really demonstrates this exceptionally irresistible thing. So, enough of me talking, and let's get right into it. One of my favorite people in the world, Trae Bohlen. How are you?
Hey, thank you for such an incredible interview or introduction. I feel like I'm blushing a little bit.
Well, there's reason to, because this is going to be amazing, and I just love everything that you do, that you're about, that you stand for. I think the audience is just sitting on the edge right now. If they're watching it live or they're listening to audio, they want to know, what are you all about? What's your message? If you were standing on a rooftop somewhere and you got the opportunity to scream out something, what is it that you want people to hear?
I think I would scream, be who God created you to be. Honestly, I'm thinking about having a t shirt made because that is the message that I want everybody to hear and everybody to embrace. If we really understand who we were created to be, then we know who we are, we know our purpose, and we can walk in that.
Right. And like, so being who God wanted us to be, is it like what? Like, hey God, how you doing? Who am I? Like what does that look like? What does that
Well, wouldn't it be nice if it was that easy, if we could just give them a
right?
ring? I think who you are is summed up from a lot of different things. It's summed up from our experiences. It's summed up by who our parents are, who our environment is. But it's not necessarily only our environment, right? It's
Mhm.
what we choose to do in that environment. It's what we choose to do with those experiences. It's not necessarily who we are, but who we're becoming. Right? It's
Mhm.
very fluid. I'm
Right.
not who I was 10 years ago, thank goodness.
Right.
And I think we would all retrospectively look back and be like, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful that I've grown. So I think
Mhm.
it's walking more in that light of that there is this constant becoming into
Mhm.
our truest,
Right.
best self. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it kind of reminds me of season one of this episode of this, sorry, season one of this show, where we were talking about primarily that part of that exceptionally irresistible meaning and what that actually means and what that looks like. Baruch was my previous co-host. We were talking a lot about, we strongly believe that we're born exceptionally irresistible. We
Yeah.
are already exceptionally irresistible. And
Yes.
it's just that, the way, I guess, how life is and how life is designed to be is that
Hmm.
we are on a journey to kind of bring that out more and discover, and that growing element of it. So we're kind of start at, let's say, zero or whatever. I mean, I think babies are exceptional, but that's just me. But I'm saying we start at a very, premature early stage, and then with life we grow and we get better. How does that tie in with your message? How does that tie in with how God created us to be? What are your thoughts about that?
I think when you were saying we start at zero, it's how I think about school, even though I'm
Mm,
not a fan of traditional school. You start at elementary level where you kind of
mm,
have a very small understanding of things. And
mm,
then as you learn more, as you experience more, you grow in that understanding. But I
mhm,
think the seed of who we are is always
mhm.
there, right? We're
Yeah,
just becoming more of that thing and
right.
hopefully evolving and changing. But the interesting thing that I really truly believe is that a rose is going to always be a rose. And
Mm,
it's going to attract those people that like roses. But if you're
mm,
a sunflower, you're going to be attracting those people to you. You know,
right.
it is very interesting how different people connect, how we
Mhm,
connect to others. And I
sure.
think that is all about, like you're saying, being irresistible. Well,
Mm,
I actually think that my flower doesn't smell as nice as someone else because I'm
mhm,
not irresistible to them, but I will be irresistible to that perfect person
right.
who needs what I offer, or vice versa. That there's this connection that's beyond, well, maybe even beyond understanding.
That's interesting. Yeah, and just, circling back to the idea of, God created this world in a sense that, that flower begins from a small little seed, which seems,
Mhm.
how do you know? Like you put like, okay, I know nothing about planting, so I'm gonna be completely ignorant here. If you give me two seeds, I will not know the difference between the two. I would not know if it's a rose or if it's a sunflower or if it's a tree for the like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And the only way I will ever find out, a person like me, is put it in the ground and let it do its thing. Of course, you have to nurture it and do all of, and then whatever comes out, like wow.
Yes.
Um, is that something you're implying, or is that like how does
Yes.
that tie in?
That is definitely what I'm implying. That only God knows.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I think with study we could understand what the seed is, but
Right.
essentially at the barest form of this analogy, then only God knows what that seed is going to become,
Mm,
and it's through nurturing that it grows into the thing it's going to be. But there's other things to consider too, that
mhm,
that rose when best supported will actually grow to be more robust, right? With the right
mm,
type of watering, with the right amount of sunshine. I planted sunflowers
mm.
in the shade, they didn't do so well. I
Right. Yeah.
planted them, I actually wanted them to face the road, but I didn't realize that the path that the sun took was not facing the road.
Oh no.
So my dreams of a sunflower field facing my road, being all beautiful and waving at people, well, I got to enjoy them. But so I think there's different things that go into the watering, the flower, the nourishment, and to ultimately the becoming of who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's something I really really love. It's understanding, like that's I guess where the growth comes in, is learning. Okay, so this kind of seed with this coloring and this angle and this whatever
Mhm.
is a sunflower seed, or a
Yes.
whatever seed. And it's through that discovery, or self-discovery rather, that
Mhm.
I learn how to better nurture my seed, better nurture my the plant that's going to come out. And again, like as I just mentioned, I'm literally two left hands when it comes to gardening. I know nothing about it. However, my wife is an amazing gardener, and I could see the amount of energy and the amount of research she puts into every single plant that she's working on. It's incredible, and it's really that, I guess, self discovery, as you're mentioning.
Yes. And I think if we take that to the next level and think, okay, how does this whole talk apply to business? How does this
Mm,
apply to something that I could readily understand and make sense of this? Okay, we talked about seeds, but what if you're thinking real estate agents? In a
mm,
sea of real estate agents, you're all saying the same thing, right?
right,
I serve my customer. I'm, giving birth to the American dream. However you want to say it, it's
mhm,
all the same thing. You're selling a house,
right,
right? How
right,
can that really be different? The difference is you. The
mm,
difference is what you're bringing to that. Everyone is serving, but you're doing it in your way. And that's
mm,
the uniqueness. It's not about like having the purple hair, pink hair, wearing the bright
mhm,
lipstick or tattoos or whatever. I mean, if that's you, be you. Clearly, it's me.
right,
But it's about the essence that you bring to it. That's the difference?
right, right. So Trey, I've like $1 million question now. So it's like, it's great. It's great that you figured out this, who do you, who God wants you to be and everything. But I'm sure you had some kind of journey of self-discovery of your own. How did you come to this message? How did you choose this one particular message out of a sea of messages you could have chosen from?
That is such a great question. It's been a crazy journey. I was born to two entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Sitting at the kitchen table, learned all about business, and I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Mm,
And then you know what usually happens is there's an event and it pushes you into something, right?
right.
So my husband was laid off, and our first year of marriage, 9 months of laid off. And I was
Wow.
like, whew,
Wow.
this is hard. And I was doing in-home care for the elderly. Love, love, love
Mm,
doing direct care for people. I love them. But I recognized I couldn't do that forever,
mm,
and so I created my first business and it exploded. And that was really amazing. And it was definitely like a timing thing, a God thing, an ingenuity thing, a branding thing.
mm,
Um, so I did that. Then I created other businesses. And when I looked back and was like, wow, I've been really successful. I don't have a background in marketing.
mm.
I have a Bible degree. It is not related to business at all. I was like, what is the magic? And
Right.
I was like, the magic is me. I know that sounds super egocentric, but I was the thing that was the magic.
Right.
I was like, well, what am I doing that's different? I'm just being who I am. I'm
Mm,
just being raw, real, transparent. I sold makeup. I don't really know how to do makeup, but that was a part of the magic. Was
wow.
people would jump online to watch me do makeup because I don't know what I'm doing and we were learning together. And it was this
Wow.
journey that I was taking people on.
Yeah.
And that's what I love to do is help other people find their magic, find their irresistible
Mhm.
quality, find who God created them to be, because that is what I found set me apart. That was the
Right.
difference maker. The difference maker was me.
And that's exactly through all of our conversations and why we invited you to the show, and what we found so exceptional is really this thing of like, you know, not knowing, not knowing a certain trait or not knowing a certain thing, doing it anyway, just
Mhm.
because you believed in it enough or you wanted to bring a certain level of value on people, and just being so raw and authentic. And what I found really exceptional and what I find really that irresistibility is that I feel like certain people, even in my business, I could see it as well. People relate to you on a human level and say, there's value here in this, like, oh, I'm not the best, I'm not the greatest makeup artist or whatever, and let me design your face and make you a superstar or whatever. But you're
Yeah.
just bringing out the human element, and you have a knack for. It seems like you have
Yes.
a knack for taking out that authentic self from people, and I find that just fascinating, and how that relates to
Yes.
everything that you're doing. It's a common thread.
Yes, and that was the common thread. And I have been for years thinking, what is my calling? What is my purpose?
Mm,
I thought it was actually to go into
right.
ministry, in all honesty, that I was going to be
Mm,
helping people understand God, that like that was going to be, maybe mission work or, or
mm,
music, I'm musical. So I had all these aspirations and it just never came to fruition, but all these
right.
other things did. And it was really interesting to just think, okay, maybe I can help other people tap into this.
Yeah.
If this comes easy for me, I wonder if I can help other people. And you're
Mm,
me, oh my goodness, that has been the most fun part of this is I sit down with my videographer and we're talking
mhm,
to a client and we're trying to help her with her 30-second elevator speech, right? She's got it
mhm,
written down and she's just going to read it. And
mm,
I was like, "Oh, no, we're not gonna do that." Like, that's not gonna translate
mhm,
well. So I looked at what she wrote, and then, like, my videographer, he was just like, "Listen, you just know how to get people to open up." He's like, "You just
mm,
knew the question to ask to get her to say the thing that we needed her to say in a
yeah,
way that would relate to other people." He was like,
mm.
"I can't do this without you." Because there is a part of it, like
Mhm,
it's like opening a pickle jar, right? Okay,
mhm,
here's the jar of pickles. Like sometimes we need help to just get it open, right?
Mhm.
And I think many people struggle with how to communicate who they are.
Mm.
Not because they're shy, but maybe because they really don't know,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And it's so fun to like
Yeah.
unlock that and kind of peel back the onion and say, look at this. Have you ever thought about yourself this way? And to have people's
Mhm.
eyes light up as as like, I feel like my soul is understanding their soul.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I wanna highlight is something you mentioned that you're in your journey, you were thinking first ministry because you felt like you wanted to help people, and then you've discovered, the makeup and the photography and all the stuff that you're currently involved with, and again, with all that common thread of helping people, I find that fascinating, and I'll share with you why. It reminds me of a story. I once had this client comes up to me and tells me I need help with my business, launching my business, and all that. And I said, okay, so well, what's your God given talent? For lack of better words, I was saying, what are you really good in? Like, what would you do for free, or what would you? And she was telling me about this. She designed these window panes for her local synagogue, and beautiful stained glass and unbelievable. I was like, wow, you must have made a killing design. She designed 12 of these windows for
Wow.
the 12 tribes. Yeah, and she said no, she did it for free. And I was like, wait, what? Like, and I asked her why, and she says, well, it's a gift. It's a talent that God gave me. I cannot monetize this gift. And I said, with all due to respect, I gotta say, here you're struggling for, to do something. You're so good at it. People will pay for this kind of talent. God gave you a specific talent, so that's going to be that's going to be your sustenance. That's going to be the way God could sustain you. God gave you this gift. And what I love about and how that ties in with you and your story is that so many of us, we look for this, I know that I want to help people. That's like my
Right.
why, right? We hear that
Right.
why. I want to help people. But what does that actually look like? And a lot of us, especially people of faith, oh, does that mean that we have to play a role in the faith, thing? Not
Hmm.
necessarily. And I know a lot of people in faith that they struggle with that. And you're just a great demonstration of everything that you've ever shared with me and the things that you do. Again, that common thread is showing, people that they matter from a God-given type of way and bringing out the best of them in that kind of way. And I love that about you. I love that message.
And I think we were created for a purpose,
Mm,
and there is a reason that we were created. And
right,
I would say that ultimately, I think it's because God wants a relationship with us, but I
right.
also think He wants us to be who He created us to be,
Yeah,
and I think we are most happy when we are that thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not wrong, like you were just saying, it's not wrong to get paid for the thing that we were created for.
Mm, yeah. I love that message. It's just such a wow. It's like I think like we just have like the pause for a second to just like reflect on the fact that it's almost like we have this inbuilt hack in us that is
Yep.
literally all of our whole life is really there since the day we're born. And like
Hmm.
you said earlier, it's really that self-discovery as we grow and as we, move along life down that journey. It's bringing it out more and more, getting more and more, in tuned with who we are, and right then and there, like there's no reason why we're not whatever, however you define success. That's a whole, discussion of its
Yeah.
own.
That's a
But
whole nother
there's no
conversation.
reason. There's no reason why a person should not be successful, uh, just without really tapping into that hack, almost, if you will.
And what's interesting is that I have gone through several pivots of what I do, right? I
Mm.
started out as being someone who knit for newborn photographers, made
Wow,
little headbands. That was my niche, exploded
wow,
that business. That's weird. What I
that's
was
cool.
doing is very strange. It's a very niche market, and I conquered it, and that was awesome.
Mm,
Then the next thing I did was sold skincare and makeup. That's not really connected, but it's leaning into the pivot. The next thing I did, I sold kitchen. kitchen supplies. That doesn't connect at all, and then being a photographer.
Mhm.
These things don't really have a connection. And I think what I wanted to say about that is like sometimes the life's journey doesn't make sense, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. The
Mm,
next thing that you do or the thing that you're doing now maybe is different than what you did before, and that's okay. Just
right,
wherever you are, be all there and be who you were made to be.
right. But I think here's where there is still a common thread though, because
You see it.
no, and I mean, I don't know, but the knitting, let's say the knitting the headbands, right?
Yeah.
That's bringing a certain characteristic out of the child that's being photographed,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? It's adding to the photography, right? Photography is
Yes.
bringing out, the skincare product. It's bringing out the beauty of the individual that you're dealing with.
Mhm.
The cook, the cookware. Well, you're helping people cook good, healthy meals. Hopefully, if that's what they're doing. But again, it's this.
Yes.
It's tapping into your strengths.
Mhm.
And from what it sounds, I'm just interpreting what I'm understanding from what you're sharing, is that there was this guiding factor that drove
Mhm.
you to all your so-called pivots, and you're
Yep.
just doing the exact same thing in various different ways, and
Exactly.
you're exploring Trey is what I'm hearing, and
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I love that because I don't think that we were created to be just one thing,
mm, yeah,
And I think the one thing also can have different facets, right? Like
right,
I'm Trey and I'm a woman, I'm also a mom, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt,
right,
I'm a friend, I'm a cousin, yeah, I'm a wife, all these different things that
sure,
make up me as a person. And I'm a knitter and a photographer and a social media manager. The list could go on and on and on.
sure,
And that doesn't confuse the situation. It actually
mm,
makes it more clear.
and richer. I
Hmm.
think it's beautiful, absolutely. So, Trey, my favorite question to ask, it's where do you draw your inspiration from? Where are you getting this awesomeness from?
Well, you know what my answer is going to be. If I'm saying that I want people to understand God's purpose, then
Mm,
obviously he's going to be my source.
mm,
He is the source of inspiration. He is the one that made me and created
mm.
me. And I just want to give him glory. So, yeah, it's God.
No, that's beautiful. Is there anything that I didn't touch upon that you wish I did?
Um, Random fact, I really love to sing. I thought I was
Mhm.
going to be an opera singer at one point. Um, so that's kind of a fun share.
Oh, cool, cool.
I was able to sing at Carnegie Hall, which was amazing,
Wow,
as a part of a choral group. So yeah, I
that's
think
so
that's
cool.
something fun that I like people to know about me because it's really random and doesn't always seem to go with the rest of the story. And I love surprising people.
Let me tell you, that was a surprise right there. You made like just one thing that I love about this whole approach, season two of the Exceptionally Irresistible show. It's really to demonstrate the human element of that business, of that, person. And there is a person behind, like, the way I interpret it is that business is really, humans interacting with humans. One human is experiencing a certain, I guess, challenge or hardship or whatever, and another human has that solution. And it's this
Mhm.
unity and this harmony of these people coming together with their unique God-given talents, in various different ways. And that's why this conversation has been just beyond incredible. I can't believe it's already the end of the show, but it's really this, and this is what it's demonstrating, that having good human interactions in business and being just the person that God created you to be is really that. And that's a lesson I at least learned from this interview. So, this was beyond incredible. If you wanted to add anything to that, I'd love to hear. And
Um, I can't think of anything more that I would even share other than that. I hope that every interaction that I have is that leaves the other person better than I found them.
yeah, I love it. Love it. Trey, this was unbelievable. This is exciting. This is amazing. And this is really wrapping up the show. Thank you so much for coming here today and sharing with the audience your story, your message. It at least it had impact on me. I hope it has impact on so many others. And this was just beyond incredible. Thank you so much, Trae. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
thank you so much for having me. It was a true joy.
Awesome stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another awesome, exciting interview, another awesome episode of the Exceptionally Irresistible Show. Looking forward to bringing more of these incredible stories to you, these incredible people. There's so much more ahead. Stay tuned. See you all next week. Have a great one. Bye bye. That's it for this week's episode of the Exceptionally Irresistible Show. What has inspired you to take action in your life? Take action now. Take the first step, share it with a friend, or write it in a journal. Subscribe and share this episode, and remember, you too are exceptionally irresistible.